Hi, this is Basil Green, and welcome to day 4 of my running plan. This is the 5-week running plan that I've been speaking about from day 1 to day 3, and this is day 4. But this is called a moment of reflection with Basil Green, where I reflect on today's running experience. And earlier I spoke about on a separate video, a YouTube video, I spoke about taking control of your life. It was mainly on the topic of self-control. And this is very important in our lives. And we have to really do it in order to get to where we need to get to. Because there are many temptations that come around us. And when those temptations come, some temptations are not that destructive, but others, if we are doing it over time at the neglect of other things, they become more and more destructive in our lives. So we have to exercise self-control. People have lost their jobs, they have lost their careers, their businesses, they've lost their lives, they've went into jail, lost their freedom, and many other things just because they couldn't exercise self-control. So it's important for us to do this. Now, I'm not speaking as someone who is perfect in this area because there's no one that is like that. Many times we get given the idea that there is perfection in the world, and in our pursuit of excellence, we tend to not show that we are not getting certain things right. So we don't want to become like the people who are showing us one image, and whereas in the background we are getting kept away from what's really going on in their lives. People that don't exercise self-control sometimes want you to do it because it makes it easier for them to continue in their behavior. So you have to just make it for yourself, because in the long run, you see it all over that if a person has a bad habit of not exercising self-control in their lives, they will ruin things for themselves. That's what ends up happening in the long run. So those who have the money and the resources and the connections, they end up spending a lot in order to cover up these areas where they haven't been able to exercise self-control. So what ends up happening, they have to pay off lawyers, they have to pay off judges, they have to threaten people, they have to do all these other kinds of things in order to maintain the image that there are people that are able to exercise self-control. But now when you and I, who are ordinary folks and who want to live lives that are normal, in that you do not have that many connections, you do not have that amount of money, or maybe you do, but it is just not easy for you to do those things because the law is here in front of you, or your bosses are in front of you, your customers are in front of you, and you don't have that amount of clout in society to cover up all of the stuff. And what ends up happening, you have to go down a road that you never ever thought you wanted to go down because of a lack of self-control in a certain area of your life. Let's just say you mess up in your marriage. If you're a married person or you got a relationship and you couldn't exercise self-control, and it affected your your relationship, or you have a job and you did something where you could have exercised self control, and now you are in trouble. Or maybe you did something and then the police are now after you. In my other video, I share something about my own life where I had a difficult time exercising self-control and I had got into trouble with the police. And I also share it in my books that I have written. You can go and check it out in the links below, and you will be able to see that certain areas of my life and in certain stages of my life, more than once I did some stuff and I couldn't exercise because I couldn't exercise self-control. And now at that moment I had to deal with the consequences of my actions. Now, I'm not talking when you're doing something right. When you're doing the right thing and you get into trouble for the right thing, then it doesn't mean you've made a bad decision. It just means that when you did that right thing, the people around you didn't like you to do the right thing. And because of that, they retaliated. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you make a mistake and you have to bear the consequences of that bad action. And if you commit a crime, or you become violent and you cannot hold yourself, or you steal, you rob, or you're not faithful to your partner, many of the things that were a simple exercising of self-control could have protected us, we ended up doing stuff that had never ever turned out the way we expected. And in most cases, many people have been in that situation. Some have done stuff that have left them permanently in a situation that they never thought they would be in that situation. So this is my encouragement for you today, that as I reflect and I look back at my life, and even stuff that has happened recently, where if I could just have exercised self-control in certain areas, I would have avoided it. And I also can speak of many times where I did exercise self-control and it did benefit me, because I don't want to only focus on the negative, because there are some people that are very strong in this area and they've maintained their self-control and they have experienced tremendous results in their lives and tremendous freedom in their lives. So both sides are good, where you avoid the negative and also you do it because you wanna attract the positive things in your life. This is Basil Green speaking, and a moment of reflection with Basil. Today's reflection was quite long, so I'm gonna try and shorten the next one for day 5 so that we are not spending too much time on one thing. Okay, goodbye.